I forgot how to read. Reading is still cool. I still adore reading. I listen to more books than I get to actually physically read them nowadays. And, even with listening to the books, I'm still enjoying what I'm finding. But I really want to get back to a point where I'm reading, for myself and I'm having fun with it. And it's not, this thing I'm pressured to do for a book club or to bring onto Book Talk or, put on my book page on Instagram. Like, I want to, of course, share, because I think sharing what you read and what media you're intaking and just what you're interested in it's a communal and fun thing. But I just feel like I need to find balance with that and how that will work for me. Another thing I wanted to talk about was, I guess, where I'm at with my, interest in reading. So when I first began reading, oh my God, take a shot for every time I say read or reading. When I first started reading, the book that kind of sparked the love and the interest to want to read again was By the Book by Jasmine Guillory. It is a novel, a romance novel. It's pretty much based on the story of like the Beauty and the Beast, but like in today's society. We have Izzy, and she's an editor's assistant, I think. And it's been a while. It's been like, I read that book in 2021, like summer. So forgive me, I don't really remember. I know it was Izzy and Bo, is the male character there. And Izzy, she is an editor's assistant. Of course, she's like tired of her job pretty much. And she ends up getting not even getting the opportunity. She does get the opportunity to basically help assist an author or, oh my gosh, did I read this book or not? Like I said, it had been years ago. Long story short, boy is supposed to be writing a book. Okay, we're just going to say boy and girl, and that's the two main characters. Boy is writing a book. Girl is constantly emailing him like, hey, how can I assist and help you, get your manuscript in so, my editor, my person I'm assisting to can get edited and we can push this along and, I can stop bothering you. And he never answers. So girl is in, his city pretty much. And girl convinces her boss that, let me go speak to him in person and maybe I can get him to, get this book over to us so we can edit it and keep it pushing. Boy is like mad resistant. He's not down for it. Girl goes to his house, knocking on the door. Boy's housekeeper or house chef, forgive me. I'm sure she's a cute girl, but it was a girl who was like cooking for him and kind of like keeping up with his house. She answers the door. She ends up playing it off like she broke her ankle and that Izzy needed to stay to help her recover. Bo, look at me, I'm off script. I'm saying their real names. I'm remembering the story as I keep talking. But Bo is basically like, fine, you think you can help me write this book? Well, why don't you just stay in my mansion and just help me write the book then and give me inspiration and motivation to write the book every day? And she's like, bet. Already, as I speak this book is so like silly and immature, and that's why I loved it. But long story short, it starts out with them kind of being like frenemies, if you will. It's like a enemies to lovers trope. Look at me trying to give like the book talk, book people terms, okay? Because that's what y'all be saying. It's the enemies to lover trope, and they slowly but surely like fall in love. Pretty much. I did not do that justice. That was a horrible description. Forgive me, Miss Guillory. Beautiful book. I gotta reread it. I have it over here. I'm probably gonna reread it. But yeah, that's what that was about in that book. Like, it changed the game for you, girl. I was like, yes, wait. Where I be trying to like look for more like rom-com movies. Because I love a good rom-com movie, but let's be real, black rom-com, unless it's got Queen Latifah in it don't eat as much. Not like these new ones. We don't get to make, cute rom-coms. All of ours are like trauma-based. I hate it. But anywho, where I was always looking for that in a movie, it was in books all along. So that's what sparked the love. Then from there, I went on like a whole like spree and tangent of just trying to find like dope Black romance novels. And there was a fire there. And let me tell you, the fire went out pretty quickly. I was like, oh, wow, romance is really just that. Like, it don't, like the stories, they're fun, like as a here and now, like a little pop in, you know, but overall, I don't think I could continue to only read romance novels. Yeah, the idea, it sounds great. It's fun, but I'm just like, I'm one of those people, I'm always looking for something more, something new. And I ultimately love stories that have really detailed and well-written characters. So, and most times with romance novels, you're not getting that. You're not. Well, let me not say you're not getting well-written characters. You're just getting characters you don't like. Period. I will read some romance novels and the main like girl who is like trying to, you know, who is the one who is to be romanced, I be hating her. She is a loser. Like, oh my God, what did I read? Who is the author? I do not remember the name, but it was Zora's Happily Ever After, I think was the name. I actually listened to the book and I didn't even finish it because she was making me so mad. One, she had two men on her case, you know, who wanted her. And she knew which one she didn't want. The one who was on paper sounded like the perfect man for her. She kept running into issues with him. Like, she expresses that throughout the entire book so far. And mind you, I didn't finish. I had probably like maybe 15 more chapters. And I was just like, girl, I can't. You getting on my nerves because you know it's not him, but you've always wanted him and now you have your chance. So you're just trying to stick beside him when his best friend, who you didn't like at first, you also spun the block and gave him a chance. And now you're like, oh, I don't know. I might like him too. You know you like him. Just go the direction you're supposed to go. That's not on your script. She kept trying to do the back and forth. Girl, it was making me mad. So yeah, that's what I mean by romance stories. Like, they have well-written characters, but 9 times out of 10, you just hate the protagonist, which, no shade, is usually the woman. I can't stand it. Same thing. I was reading Jasmine Guillory, Drunk on Love. Oh, my God. Well, actually, both of them was making me mad. I do not remember the names. I was listening to that as well. Also, is it just me? When I'm listening to a book, throw the character names in the trash. I don't know who we talking about. I have to actually physically hold the book to remember the names of characters. But anywho, I was reading Drunk on Love, Jasmine Guillory, and oh my God, the girl was making me mad. The boy was making me mad. And get this, they weren't even girl boy. They was actually man woman. They was so like immature, but mature. It was making me like, I was infuriated. The guy, he loses his job, he quits his job. And then he's just like, well, I'm just going to go work on this, this little vineyard, which is where the girl, she's part owner of the vineyard now with her brother. And he's thinking it's just like a fun little summer job. He just finna take that and boom, right? Then he goes to a bar one night, the same bar that the girl she goes to regularly. One of her best friends is like the bartender there, always hooking her up. And the friend is like, you need to go after that man. And, slowly but surely, they just kind of come together. They eat their dinner. They're there at the bar for like 3+ hours, talking, chatting, have a good time. End up taking it back to his place because he was closer. I think they walked to his home. Yeah, they did because she walked up there. They had a little rendezvous. And from there, they were, he was just like, when can I see you again? And Shorty is like, boy, I got to go to work. Move. So, but she's not that rude, but that's essentially what she's like. So she's going to work and she's, had to rush home, get cute, clocks in, and her brother is like, new hires, they coming in today. And she's like, okay, whatever. I'm so paraphrasing this and I'm also probably putting my twist on it. I don't care though. Then when the new hires get there, why is it all dude from the bar that she just had the rendezvous with? So that's just the story, right? And then it's also dual perspective. So when it's the boy telling his story, he's so gung-ho on about him quitting his job and not being able to tell his mom. Now, I know people in this book is about 31, 35, and you scared to tell your mom you quit your job? Oh my gosh. Did she forget to put a note in your lunchbox? Come on now. That right there, it was at that point, I was nowhere near the middle of the book. It was at that point I was like, pull it. Return it back. I sent it back to Libby self-ass. Because you're not finna convince me that grown adults in a romance story who know they just want to be together, they keep, trying to avoid each other because of a one-night stand. And then the boy is sad because he quit his job and he don't want to let his mom down. You see what I mean? And I don't know. Am I starting to hate romance novels? I don't want it to be that way because there'll be a few where I'm like, yeah, that was good. But it's just like, oh my gosh. If somebody got a romance novel that's like genuinely good, really good, I'm talking character development on 1,000, really good, send it my way. You don't have to send 7 Days in June my way. I already read it. I freaking loved it. Send me something else. Don't send me no Guillory either. I love her, but like, I gotta. So my newest obsession is book YouTube. I'm very familiar with Book Talk, Bookstagrams. But I don't know why I thought that conversation did not extend into the lovely home of YouTube. Oh my gosh. I have been watching reading vlogs, book hauls. I'm watching one right now, Bookish Homebody, which I actually follow her main page. Her name is LaPortia. I don't remember the middle name or last name that's after that, but I know her first name is LaPortia. But this is her book page. So I'm watching her book haul of authors I've never read before. And I literally have had so much queued up. Like, I don't know if you can see, but I got more queued up. This is mad fun. I didn't watch people going to the library, going to the bookstore, like, all day. And, I watched one video that was really good. I gotta find I'm gonna have to exit out of this and go to my history. Is a couple, so some shout outs. Cozy Comfy Up, she also sews, so she talks a lot about what she's creating, what outfits she's creating at the moment, and what patterns she be getting, to make her clothes out of. Super cool. I like her. I also found Lex Reeds, who also has a book club called Unsung Black Books, I think. I'm not sure, but also love her. Also love Jaded Reads, Diamond. I watched her reading vlog for 7 Days in June. I've already read 7 Days in June, but after watching her video, now I want to reread it. I did give the book away to a friend at the time, but I'm gonna just look on the library and see if I can reread it for free. I was also watching a young lady. Her channel is just Danny, Danny. Danny likes to read thrillers, so she was talking about some thriller books that I'm partly interested in already, so I did like her. Lily Reads, I found, which I've already seen her before on social media, YouTube is social media, but I've seen her on Instagram. Did not know about her YouTube channel, so I checked that out, and I liked some of her videos too. I looked at Ree Turner. Who else? Oh, Nikel's Nook, a UK babes. I love it. I love her channel. I watched her books I'll be reading in 2024. She's super cute. Black Lore, also fire. I just watched her January wrap up for BookTube. Oh, that's a cute name. Is that what it's called? BookTube? I love it. There's a video that I added to my watch later from Amy Dwa that I'm gonna watch, and it's her What She Read in January. I also saved Auntie Anjola, all the books that she read in November. I feel like, yeah, that's old because it's not November or close to it, but it came up in my recommended and I still want to check it out. And yes, I'm obsessed and I rock with y'all heavy. I found a new lane because I kind of started over, like not started over, but I've unsubscribed to a lot of people, to things that I just don't subscribe to in my life anymore. The content just is not like arousing to me, so I've unsubscribed from those channels. And I've just been like in search of like, what is media I actually like to consume? What's something that's like, is beneficial, not just like rambles, And I found some booktube people that I already really enjoy their personalities. Oh, also, what's his name? Delapo. I'm gonna get it. I'm one of those people, I like to pronounce people's names. Delapo Adericon. I pray. Also, What's Rudo Reading. I'm also going to check out their channel. And I am Erin Elizabeth. I'm also going to check out. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong spot. I'm also going to check out Erin's channel as well. But yes, I'm obsessed with book YouTube. It's fun. It feels more like a community. People on Instagram be like, oh, this is like a community. But like really, like it's so easy to get lost in the sauce on TikTok and Instagram and finding those communities. And I feel like YouTube has always felt like a home where you can just go for everything. And it's not like, oh, I'm on Instagram, but also like join this, the Geneva app to learn more about like book conversations. It's like, girl, I don't want to sign up for no more apps. But YouTube just feels like that one-stop shop. So I'm really finna get into like finding some more book creators here on YouTube. And yeah, I'm about to cook something because I'm hungry. And I'm about to just put this on and finish out my queue of all the new book creators I found. Period. Get into the new bag. Okay, I am back with an update, and this is actually not an update about Divas Incorporated, which is the book that I said that I would be reading. I still am reading it, but I haven't picked it back up because I had to do my hair, and I spent the whole day, my whole weekend pretty much, doing my hair, and I just wanted to have something, or like, I definitely wanted to read, but I wouldn't have the ability to hold that book and read it in my hands. So I just snagged me a little audiobook off of Libby, and I've been listening to that instead. So I actually want to talk about that. And at the same time, I'm going to get ready because I'm about to leave the crib. So the book I've been listening to is The Wife Before by Shanora Williams. Now, I have read this book in the past. Think about it, maybe about like a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago. I don't remember. I read the book, Jaw on the Floor, one of like the most entertaining thrillers I had read in a minute, like literally. So I've been listening to that, and one, I was gagged because I remembered like essentially how the story went, but now that I've already read it and I'm listening to it, all the details are like, the red flags is red flagging, and it's so good. So that's that. Let's get into kind of like the story. Let me spritz my face real quick. So we have Samira Wilder, who is 28-year-old, Black woman trying to figure out life. she often refers to herself as like someone who's not lucky. And I guess she's just kind of like at this plateau. She keeps losing jobs. And the story starts out with her just losing a job that her brother got for her. And she has a roommate. She's trying to figure out like life, like how am I going to pay rent? I just lost this job for being late. Her brother also cut her off because he was, financing her life a little bit as well. But he's trying to have a baby with his fiance. And at that point, she's just like, okay, life is not going the way I expected it to. In comes an opportunity to be a waitress for a private event. And while she's there, she's doing a good job. She hates waitressing, but she needs money. And she ends up taking a like tray of champagne, and she ends up dropping her whole tray. Her fingers are all cut up. She's bleeding on her shirt. She's bleeding all over the champagne flutes. And there's a guy who's trying to help her. And she later finds out that that man is Roland Graham. He is a black man. He is one of the best golf players in the world, aside from Tiger Woods, which Samir is like, oh, the only black golfer I know is Tiger Woods. And he was like, yeah, that's usually how it goes. But I'm taking this man's spot, pretty much, right? And from there, they like hit it off instantly. And long story short, they end up getting married. Now, prior to them getting married, Samir's brother, he works in PR. So he knows like everything about everybody. And he actually warns Samir because he saw like some paparazzi photos with his little sister around with this man who all of the press outside of his golf news is of him potentially killing his ex-wife. His ex-wife, Melanie, passed away. She drove the car off a cliff. When they found the body, they found drugs in her system. And this all happened while Roland was on a solo golf trip. And the reason why he was still free is because his timestamps from him being at his trip versus like the timestamps of Melanie passing away, they can't fully connect it to Roland setting them up. There's not enough evidence. But all of, the tabloids are pretty much saying like he's a killer. And Samir's brother is, of course, one of those people who do not trust this man. But she marries him anyway. Outside of her brother's wishes for her to cut it off, she decides to marry him. And not only does she marry him, they met in Florida, which is where Samira is from, but she ends up agreeing to move to Roland's mansion, which is out in Colorado. So she's marrying this man, she's leaving her best friend behind and her brother, and she's told nobody. And upon getting married and moving out there, she notices like, one, Roland is only connected to like small group of people, his mom, his house chef Yadira, and then also a relative, his cousin, who's like his brother, Dylan. And they even had like their wedding and their reception where it was pretty much just them, like no other outside friends came or whatever. Samir didn't find it weird because she's like, well, this is my life now. Like we have this beautiful private mansion. Like I have all this land. Roland's throwing money at me. Like we're good. If he only want to keep like these certain people around, that's fine. So she just kind of agrees to that, and she figures I'll just tell like my friends and family, when the time is right. But let me just kind of like have this moment to myself. So not even like I feel like a full week in the mansion, she asks about this shed that Roland has on the property, and she's like, what's that? And he was like, that was Melanie's, his ex-wife, she shed, and that's where she would make clothes and read books, and she would write in her journals and do like all her little like solo feminine girl things. So all of Melanie's old stuff that she had before she died is just sitting in that shed. And Samir volunteers to gather it all together, sell it, donate it, get rid of it, and turn it into her own little like private corner. And Roland is like, all right, cool, fine. Now, fasting forward again, Samir gets to digging around. She first finds like this box of photos that started out like cute, like pictures of Melanie, like Melanie eating
I don't know, dinner, Melanie, in mid-laughter, Melanie reading a book quietly or whatever. And then it started to get a little racy. It would be like Melanie like naked and someone like posed her. And she was just like, that's odd, but let me just like leave that alone, because again, that was Roland's wife at a point in time. So this maybe for them was normal. Who knows? And then a couple of days later, she ends up finding these black journals. Now, Melanie had a bunch of books, so at first Samira didn't think anything of it, but what caught her attention was that the books had no like labeling on them. It was just black, and they were like, I think they had a gold like number on them, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Where am I looking? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 type vibe, right? So she's just like, oh, okay, like what's this? She opens it and it's like property of Melanie Graham type vibes. And she's like, oh. And the more she looked into it, she realized, oh, this is a journal or a diary. But y'all, she starts reading the diary. And it's basically Melanie just spilling all the tea that's happening in her and Roland's marriage and life. Honey, this, first of all, you think that's not, oh, that's innocent, oh, she probably cheated, she probably did all these other things and was just getting her heart out. No, Melanie, as well as her sister, they're different. I'm not going to call them crazy, but they are different. We hear stories of Melanie talking about her sister Miley being an addict, struggling with drugs. There was a point in time where Melanie secretly moved Miley out to Colorado because they're from Raleigh, North Carolina. And, she gets her an apartment and she would check on her every single day. And Roland actually like peeps game on this because he notices her bank statements. It's always there's a monthly charge for the apartment complex that Miley lived in. And he was like, you're always tipping out of here, Melanie. Like, are you cheating on me? Are you having an affair? She was like, no, I would never have an affair. But at that time she wasn't. And he revealed to him like, okay, I have a twin sister. I don't really bring her around because one, she's an addict. She's, self-seeking. I have a life with you that I love and I want to keep for us, and she's a part of a life of me that I no longer want to be a part of. So I got her an apartment and she's been doing good. I just wanted to kind of keep her near, but not keep her near, And he's like, okay, that's fine. Roland's like, I would like to meet her. My money is going towards her living. Can I at least see the girl? And they agree to do that. So they invite Miley over for dinner, and Roland invites his cousin Dylan to actually come over and have dinner with them too. Dylan and him are like brothers. That's their bond, and that's one of the few guys that Roland seems to bring around. And Melanie also remembered him from their wedding as well, because just like Samira, Melanie and Roland, when they got married, it was like a very private type of thing where only, Roland's mother, really just all Roland's people there, and Melanie just kind of being by herself. The same thing it was with Samara. Okay? And so at this dinner, Miley's kind of like, you can tell that she's interested in Dylan, and Melanie is like not having it. One, she keeps saying like, I know my sister, she loves hard. I'm trying to protect her. And I know that if Dylan only wants like a little fling here, fling there, Miley's not that type of girl. And then if she spirals out, she might relapse, whatever. That's kind of like her ongoing commentary, because she's like, I'm not trying to see that happen. So she ends up speaking to Dylan. And I'm glossing over this story because there's so many other details that are just like in there, but it's great. So she ends up having like a brunch breakfast set up for Dylan just as a thank you, because he also helps around their house, Melanie and Roland's house. And she tells him, hey, so my sister likes you pretty much, but I would really appreciate it if she tries to like put any passes on you that you would just lightly decline. She gives history about Miley, and he's just like, oh, okay, yeah, sure, I'll do that. He agrees to do it, but then later we find out that he broke that commitment so fast, and he was sleeping with Miley. Like, he didn't even probably give it like a week. He probably started sleeping with Miley like the following day, honestly. But When Melanie finds out, she is livid. So Dylan, at this time, I also forgot to mention, is living in the basement of Melanie and Roland's mansion. And she goes to him and she's knocking on his door, and he comes out like with a white towel because he just got out the shower, and she's like, "You're sleeping with Melanie." Those are not the words she used, but you catch the drift I'm throwing. And he's just like, "Hold on, let me get dressed." And y'all, this entire scene, this dialogue, mind you, where I'm speaking from is probably like chapter 35, 36, 30 something, right? Or maybe in chapter 40. No, because I think I'm on chapter 45 right now. And I think I'm a little down the road. But anywho, at this point, not Roland, Dylan is like telling Melanie off. He didn't already like sniffed like her blood. He can get a sense of who she is to the core, to the bone. Roland don't have a clue. Roland is just, he out on his little golf trips because he got to bring the bread home. But Dylan, he says to Melanie, first of all, you're just trying to ruin your sister's shine because that's what you've always done. Your sister told me about Calvin, which, y'all, Calvin comes up later in the end of the story, and it'll blow your mind. I'm excited to hear it, but I read it and it's crazy. But he's like, she told me about Calvin and how he used to, you know, he was their mom's man or whatever, but he ended up, Melanie was sleeping with him at like 15, which is like, so, I forgot, trigger, warning, essay, yeah, drug use, all of that, sorry. But he's just airing out all of Melanie's business. And he ends up basically saying like, you want me. You mad at your sister. Or not even mad at your sister. You trying to act like you mad at me because I'm with your sister who's a grown woman. Which if we decide to do something and maybe she has more feelings than I do and I break it off and she does whatever, she's a grown woman, right? Rightfully so. But you're knocking on my door because really and truly deep down in your heart, you want me. And Melanie is just like, F you. She's like, F you. And that's all her response because it's true. She already knew that Dylan had liked her. He would look at her a certain way. And, you know, of course, Miley's her twin. So if she's married to Roland, the closest he gonna get to Melanie is the twin. And it's like a little scapegoat. But she already knew, like, if he had the choice to make, he would choose me. And the sick part about Melanie is that she loves that. She loves her husband, Roland, but she also loves to be desired, period, by other men. And Dylan was that man. And they end up having a fling. Oh, she cheated on Roland countless times with Mr. Dylan. And yeah, so now at the point of the book where I'm at, like I said, I think I'm at like chapter 40, like end 40s, late 40s. And right now, Samira is reading. Oh, and everything I'm explaining to you, Samira is reading in the journals. And also in the middle of that, Roland keeps catching her like going to the she shed in the middle of the night. He's like, babe, come to bed. Why are you at the she shed? Like, you tipping off. It scares me. Melanie used to do the same thing to me. And now look at where she at. What are you hiding? Are you like, what's going on? So she's dealing with that, but she's also reading the mess out of Melanie's journals. So everything that I just shared to you about Melanie, that's all what Samira read. And Samira is also at the same time trying to connect dots between who Roland actually is. Maybe this is a side of him that she has not yet seen. She's never really seen him angry or frustrated or whatever. So she's like trying to put the pieces together with him. She's also on the side trying to figure out Dylan because he's also kind of acting like this quiet mastermind type being in this story. And she's trying to figure out where is the connect. And then also she's like, Roland must not know what Melanie and Dylan know because there would be no way Dylan would still be here. Not unless Roland himself is just sick and doesn't care either. But whatever. And that's where Samira is. And she's like, I don't know who I married. This was the Risa Tisa before Risa could Tisa. it was Samira Wilder first in in the book The Wife Before by Shanora Williams. So her brother also finds out about her marriage because, again, he works in PR, so he was going to find out sooner or later, and she was a little too slow at getting that information to him. He had to find out from the blogs. Crazy. And from that, he's calling Mira, like, upset. He's like, why would you marry that man when I deliberately told you to stay away from him? And she's just trying to play it off because Roland can also see that she's on the phone and she's trying to be like, my brother, he's a hoot. And he's like yelling at her, like, why are you marrying this crazy? He killed his wife, da 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 da. And she's like, I'll call you later. But then the more she thought about it, she ended up texting her brother Kel in the middle of the night. And she sent him her address. And she just sent one word. And that one word was hurry. That was that. And so that's where I left off. The more I'm listening to it, the more I'm like, oh, I remember this. And it's like, I don't know. When reading the book, I was drawing the picture. But now that I'm listening to it, I'm coloring in the picture. And now I'm like, Dylan said, and then Dylan... Okay, so that is where I'm at right now. That was long. But The Wife Before by Shanora Williams. If you have not read that book, my gosh. Second time going around, it's even better. Listening to it really is even better. If you have that option, please go get the audiobook. I freaking love it. As far as Divas Incorporated, where I left off, I'm only like on page like 30 something. So Margaret, Maggie, my girl, she is house sitting for Chantel and Tiffany, who planned a whole trip to France in front of her without her when they are supposed to be a trio, a friend group. And yeah, they literally like volunteered her to take care of their homes. I think Chantel has a dog. It's either Chantel or Tiffany. One of them has a dog. They both got men who wants to go on trips with them and wants to be close to them, but they're like, Diva rule number 1. I ain't taking no trip with that man. We're not doing that. So they're about to go on their trip, and now Margaret is like counting down the days because she's already conducted a whole plan in her mind. I'm about to literally live the life of a diva thanks to Chantal and Tiffany, where they're just about to have their places vacant where I'm in it. I'm about to live their lives. So that is where I'm at. Again, that story is like super fast paced, which I love. It's a quick read. And already, like I said, within 30 pages, like that, we're already in the journey. So I'll come back with an update on that. I'm excited to finish that. I'm also, forgive me, I am a threes girl.
A threes girl often refers to the revolving arsenal of drinks that one woman keeps at hand at all times. The most popular combination is bottled water, a fizzy drink, and a specialty beverage such as tea, coffee, or a smoothie. Our protagonist uses this term to describe her unsettling fear of committing to a singular book.
I also on my Kindle have Sister Friends Forever by Kimberla Lawson Roby. I've already read this book as well, but I just wanted to reread it again because I'm really loving the girls. I just want to read about the girls, not necessarily like romance. It can involve romance, but I'm really just, I'm in my girl fiction, woman fiction bag. I just want to hear about friends, being cute, having drama, getting drinks, eating food, living life, being black, being girls. That's all I want to hear. So that is my current update. I'm about to finish up my makeup and hair. I'm pretty much already done. I might put powder on, I might not. I'm one of those. And yeah, I'll catch y'all in the next one. So I really want Wingstop, but that's not an option. But I'm going to cook. I really want a sandwich, so I'm thinking I'm gonna make like a chicken sandwich. Okay, I am on chapter 46. I'm about to listen. How many chapters are there total? 71 chapters. And I am on chapter 46. Let's get into it.
Gagged, punched, beat up, stomped on, chewed up, spit out, choking, screaming, laughing, crying, reading, finishing, The Wife Before by Shanora Williams. Honey, what can I say other than the second time going around? The street of this story was good. Oh, it was good. Like I said in my last clip, reading it was one thing, and it had jaw to the, you know what that is, the floor. But hearing it was like, that was painted. And honestly, where's the movie adaptation? Where's the show? Where's the show adaptation? Because I'm ready to now see it. Shanora, girl, who office you got to get in? Like, come on, the other black girl had their series. I need the Wife Before series. Hearing it for the first time, reading it the second time, I was able to clock some early things, y'all. When you reread it, ain't no way you couldn't tell Dylan wasn't up to it all along. Ain't no way you couldn't tell Dylan wasn't up to it the whole time. That man was plotting. Think about it. Being that close to that man, hardly hearing of him wanting to settle down, marry, even live in his own spot. I don't know. But I could tell. My card is full, so we're back on the phone. But, yeah. Melanie died at the hands of that man who cut up her body and then put it in the freezer. Miley was placed in the car, pumped with drugs, and forced against her will to drive that car off of the cliff. So it was Miley's body. That was Melanie's body, but it was really Miley. Samira and Roland then take this all to the police or whatever. They end up staying in their marriage and, loving each other, because now that was the only thing that was really holding them against each other or keeping them from each other, is because Samira was like, I got to figure out who I married and who he was married to. Okay. Before she could really enjoy that marriage. So yes, that book was crazy and I'm excited to read more. My next read is actually going to be The Perfect Ruin by Shanora Williams. I am freaking excited. There was another book that talked about Lola Maxwell, Lola Maxwell is a character who's within the same universe, and she actually ends up dying, her and her husband, in The Wife Before. But there is a story where it's pretty much all about Lola Maxwell and another character named Ivy. So I'm actually going to go back and read that one next. So that concludes this video. This is my very first reading vlog, and I'm so excited to do more of these. If you like it, please like this video. And if you have a book that usually gets you out of your reading slump or has recently gotten you out of your reading slump, drop it in the comments. I want to know so I can add that to my read ASAP list that I have on my Libby app. But yeah, do that. Please subscribe. I want to do more of this. I do a lot of different things, but I want this to be the new cool fun thing that I do for myself. So subscribe for more, and I will see y'all in the next video.